Good morning, everyone. We're going to start this morning with the hymn sing, and since it's spring and there's about flowers, I thought we'd do number 305, De Colores, with the spring with all of its flowers. So if you could get out number 305 in the gray hymnal, and we'll give it a try. And if some of the choir wants to come up and help out, great.
Watch out for that. Smells nice.
All the colors, yes, the colors we see in the springtime with all of its flowers. All the colors, when the sunlight shines through a rift in the cloud and it showers. repeating.
Nice.
We're going to do some more. I'm going to keep that there.
Yeah. Oh, angles. Yeah. That's pretty
Yes. Hymn 100, I've got peace like a river.
Yeah.
Feel free to do the hand movements if you know them.
I don't remember.
I've got
Peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
I've got
Peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my
Okay.
Real.
That's 311. What's it called? Is it too loud?
No. Oh, let it be.
Okay.
I thought we were doing this one later. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let it be a song we heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to live. the need
to reap the harvest worth of
seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you.
through the good times and the
Bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as a restless ride. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you.
through the good times and the bad times too.
Let it be a dance. Morning storms we cloud at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, share the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance. Woo!
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist. My name is Ginger Guidry, and I am a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. I especially want to welcome any visitors or newcomers to our church, and to call your attention to the special note for you, welcome guests and newcomers, on the back of the order of the service. I would also like to welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns may be found on the live stream screen, and a complete order of service, including this week's announcements, is available via the link in the Sunday morning email and on the church website. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. There's just one announcement this morning. Today's Rising Up service will be followed by a reception in the courtyard. Please join us. And finally, if you haven't already done so, please turn off or silence all cell phones during our service to maintain a worshipful experience. Now we will have a Share the Plate from Aaron Gottschalk about the Inch Leadership Fund.
Good morning. My name is Aaron Gottschalk, and today's Share the Plate offering will go to benefit an important youth program, the church's Sarah Elizabeth Inch Leadership Program. The Inch Leadership Program was established to honor the memory of Sarah Inch. She was a beloved leader in this church and a lifelong Unitarian Universalist who was deeply devoted to the spiritual development of children and youth. In the Inch Leadership Program, youth serve on a church ministry team or committee and receive mentoring and guidance to help them develop as leaders. For instance, I observe our board of trustees as they go through the process of governance, and others like Avis Lavender serve as worship associates on Sunday mornings. Additionally, as a part of the program, Inch associates may receive scholarships to participate in leadership development in the Unitarian Universalist Association, such as attending General Assembly or the College of Social Justice. Your donation will help fund the next class of Inch Leadership Scholarship. All cash collected will go toward the Share the Plate. For checks, please note STP Inch Program Fund in the memo line. Thank you for your generous and ongoing support of the church's youth.
Let us join and sing our opening hymn this morning. It is number 118, This Little Light of Mine. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing.
Quite a full house this morning, so if you're able to, maybe move in a little bit to leave some space on the ends of the rows for people who are still actually coming in this morning. The call to worship for this morning's Rising Up service is number 715 in the gray hymnal. Please join me in the italicized words. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and bends you with might that the arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. You will find the words for our chalice lighting in the order of service. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the loving heart. This is the church of the helping hands. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, there is a QR code inside the order of service, which can be read by your cell phone's camera, and there is information on the church's website. Today, our generosity extends beyond our walls as we give to today's Share the Plate for the Inch Leadership Fund. Remember that you can donate online, or if you are writing a check for the church, if you're writing a check, please write STP in the memo line. We will now receive the morning offering.
You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find you a lover. Go away somewhere all bright and new. I have seen no other who compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, go find another. Run away, let your heart be your guide. You deserve the deepest of colors. You belong in that home by and by. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me, far away from your trouble and worries. You belong somewhere you feel free. You belong somewhere you feel free.
Good morning. My name is Marion Hirsch, and I am the Director of Religious Education here at the Community Church. And this is a very joyous day, rising up, when we honor all of the young people and children in our congregation who are rising up. who are going through important life transitions. And here in the congregation, we recognize these important transitions. We give them gifts, we cheer them on, we notice them as they grow. And in the church, as children rise from preschool to water circle, and from 5th grade to middle school, and from middle school to high school, and when they graduate, their lives change. And part of the reason that we have this ceremony is to recognize those changes and differences in their lives. It's important when things change that we just take a moment to notice that that's what's happening, both for the people that it's happening to and for everyone around them. We do so much better in life when we take note of the changes that are happening. So this ceremony is mostly clapping and gift giving. Does not involve any speeches or any complicated choreography. So I'm just going to tell you, when it's your turn to come up, if you come up and stand on the steps, and you stand there, and then Kat is going to give you your gifts. And then there's going to be a moment when we clap for you, and then you can take your gift and go back to your seat. Easy, all right? The first group of people that we would like to recognize are rising kindergartners, people who were in Rainbow Room and are rising to kindergarten. Do we have anybody here who is in that demographic? Please come forward, and you can bring a special person in your family if you would like. So I just want to tell you a little bit about the gift for people who are joining Water Circle. It's watercolors and a watercolor paper. So now is the clapping. In the fall, we'll be so excited to welcome you to Water Circle. And now you can go back to your seats. The next group of people that we are honoring are 5th graders who are rising to 6th grade, who will be joining our middle school program, if they could come forward. So this is very exciting. These folks have finished 5th grade OWL, and they will be leaving Fire Circle and joining middle school in the middle. And the gift that we have for them, very exciting Unitarian Universalist socks, and the very exciting chicken soup for the teenage soul. And now is clapping. We are very excited to be welcoming you to middle school in the fall. And now you may sit. So those of you who do demographic research know that sometimes there's a big bubble, a cohort that's extremely large. And this year's 8th graders, rising 9th graders are one of those bubbles. They have finished 8th grade OWL, which is an enormous achievement, and they will be joining high school youth group and coming of age in the fall. And I would like our rising ninth graders to come forward. Their gift is a Unitarian Universalist chalice pendant. We are very excited to be welcoming you to high school youth group and to youth staff and to coming of age and all the exciting things for next year. So let's clap. Thank you. You may sit. It is a beautiful thing to be able to raise up children together as a community. And we honor our graduating seniors and their families. They have been a part of the very fabric of this church, many of them since they were small children. And it's a huge accomplishment to make it through 18 years of school and all of the joy that we have had having them in our midst. And some of them will go and some of them will stay. But a big life change is happening for them. And we love them so, so much. So please let us welcome our rising seniors. But I just want to say one thing, that we are also welcoming a special riser who is Yakov, who's actually in 11th grade, but he has been a exchange student here for the whole year from Serbia and has been in our high school youth group the whole time. And since we aren't going to be able to rise him next year, we're rising him now. So if Yakov and all of the rising seniors and their families could please come up. Their gift is a book from the Unitarian Universalist Association, which is called Becoming, which is a book of meditations for young adults. And it is also a chalice, which they can take with them, that will be of their choosing. So let's clap to celebrate these beloveds. We love you so much. So you can sit now.
So each spring, Unitarian Universalist churches all over the United States and all over the world gather for a flower ceremony. It is our tradition. Churches do it a little bit, it's always in the spring, but it's different churches do it at different times. Some churches do it in late March or even early April on the same Sunday as Easter. Some churches do it in April on the same Sunday as Earth Day. Some churches do it in May on the same Sunday as Mother's Day or a different Sunday in May. And here in our church, it's our tradition to do Rising Up on the first Sunday after Memorial Day. The first Sunday after Memorial Day during Rising Up, where we gather all together as a whole religious community. Look at all of you here this morning. This year is special, though, because this year is the 100th birthday of the Flower Communion. The first Flower Communion was 100 years ago in 1923. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of the Flower Communion and what it means, and we're actually going to participate a little bit as well. And then I found a fun prayer to share. So the Flower Communion was begun in Prague, Czechoslovakia, 100 years ago in 1923. And if you think back to that, Czechoslovakia is in the center of Europe, and Czechoslovakia was at that point, it was a new nation. It was a new nation that was just 5 years old. It was created at the end of World War I, which was a horrible, awful war that had devastated the entire European continent. And just 5 years after the war, it was a hard time. People were recovering from and rebuilding after and mourning the devastation of that war. And so people were trying to find enough food to eat and enough warm clothes to stay warm in the wintertime. And they were beginning to rebuild their lives after a really hard time. And it was also a time when people were asking questions about belonging and identity and community and trust. This was a new country that had been formed, and they were beginning to figure out who they were and what they were about. Just after the war, Norbert Čapek, who was from Czechoslovakia, founded a Unitarian church in the city of Prague. It was a church that was especially spoke to people who didn't fit with traditional churches, and people who wanted freedom of belief, and people who wanted to explore new ways and different ways of being religious altogether. It was a church of heretics, and they didn't really like a lot of the old traditions. And so one spring, and Norbert Čapek's church was known for its creativity, and it was known for its warmth, and it was known as a place of acceptance and welcome. And in 1923, the spring of 1923, Norbert Čapek got a little bit playful and decided to create a new ritual. He turned to the beauty of nature and was inspired by the beauty of the springtime. And he decided to create a ritual, to imagine and invent a ritual that would welcome the wonderful beauty of spring into the church. So he decided to have one Sunday in the spring invited each person to bring to church with them a flower of their choice, whether from their garden or their farm, or maybe that they found along the roadside. Said each person is going to pick a flower that they enjoy and delight in. Each person sees beauty differently, and each person's going to come with a flower that represents the beauty that they see. And in bringing it, each person is going to bring to this community a piece of the truth, just as each person brings a piece of their own truth and a piece of their own knowing to community. Each person's going to bring a flower. Robert Chopik set up vases out in the entryway to the church, and as people came in, they put a flower in the vase. During the service, the flowers would be carried forward during the service by the children of the church during a special hymn that Chopik had written for the Sunday. And then the flowers would be blessed, would be consecrated. And we have actually in our hymnal the words that Chopik spoke 100 years ago. It's number 724 in the hymnal, and I thought we would all read them together, so we can see what it. And of course, they're not in Czech, but they're in English, so they're a translation. And so here was the prayer of the consecration that Chopik spoke. Let's read it all together. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. And then Chopik invited everyone in the church to come forward and to pick a flower. It could be any flower except for the one that they brought. You're not allowed to pick the one that you brought. And he did this as a way of celebrating, just like in this prayer, just a way of celebrating the diversity of the community that we are, our differences in knowledge and in gifts, and to celebrate the beautiful bouquet that we create when we bring ourselves to the community. He also let the flowers remind us of the gift of each other, the gifts of friendship that we share when we share our lives and we share our friendship and we share our lives with each other. We give each other a gift. And then he said, I love this. He says, may we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us. So he's saying, if somebody brought a flower that you wish you grew in your garden, don't be jealous of it. Every flower is beautiful. And so in a moment, I'm going to introduce the ritual for us to do. But first, I wanted to share a beautiful prayer that I found. This is written by a friend of mine who I went to divinity school with, named Claire Feingold Thorin. And she wrote it. There's this wonderful Thanksgiving prayer written by a minister named Max Kutz. And she rewrote it as a prayer. Instead of in the fall for the harvest season, she rewrote it as a prayer for flower communion and the spring. And it's called A Bouquet of People. So I invite you to join with me in this time of prayer. Let us give thanks for a bouquet of people. We give thanks for children. Like tulips and iris, they multiply around us, making the world even more filled with color, beauty, and new life. May we bless them as they replant themselves ever further from us, knowing that they need their own space to grow into. We give thanks for generous friends, as constant in bloom as echinacea, and whose gifts lift up our body and our spirit. We give thanks for feisty friends, as indomitable as geraniums, and for continuous friends who, like bittersweet and ivy, hold on and never let go, and can never be gotten rid of. For crotchety friends, as prickly as rose bushes, their beauty a secret that is only discovered through careful gardening. For surprising friends who at first glance seem dour, and then blossom into joy as quickly as forsythia. For our funny friends, as silly as snapdragons, and serious friends, complex as chrysanthemums. For comfortable friends, their gentle presence as soothing as the sweet smell of lilacs. For stormy weather friends who stand by us in hard times, like lily of the valley that cannot be deterred by shade or shadow. For old friends nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, and young friends coming on as fast as flocks. For friends as unpretentious as dogwood, as persistent as pachysandra, as steadfast as azalea, and who like snowdrops can be counted on to see you through the winter and remind you that spring always comes. For loving friends who wind around us like wisteria and embrace us despite our blights and wilts and witherings. And finally, for forget-me-not friends, gone but never forgotten. Their beauty lives on in our memories and hearts. For this bouquet of people who brighten our lives each in their own way, we give thanks. Amen. And for our flowers, a symbol of the vibrancy of our community, we give thanks. Amen. In just a moment, we're going to begin the flower communion ceremony. How it works is we're going to come in down the center aisle, one row at a time, out of 2 rows. You take a flower and you're going to go back by going down the side. I think the members of the children and youth ministry team are going to be helpers with our flower ceremony, and we're going to have some music while we come up. And I invite you to, once you come back, to sit silently with your flower, and you might look at it, and you might look at the flowers around you, and then there will be a part right after we're done where I'm going to invite us to do something with the flowers. All right? Ready? First row, you are up. So before we have our closing music, as we're returning to our seats, I'd like to invite everybody into just a time of silent meditation and contemplation. I'd invite you to just take a look at the flower that you received, not the one that you brought this morning, but one that you received. Take a moment to look at it and to see it, and to see what gifts it has for you, the gift of newness. And may we go forth this day seeing each relationship that we create, person that we meet, as an opportunity for a gift. Amen. Blessed be. And it is our tradition, our church tradition, that we end Rising Up and the Flower Communion with a great old singing of Love Train. So I'm going to invite our community church singers and our band to come up once more and close us out. The words are inside your order of service. I invite you to sing along, and once it gets going, actually, I'm going to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and sing along.
Train.
The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join me in saying them if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Before we sing Shalom, let's take a moment to give thanks to all who made this morning's service so special. For the singing of Shalom, please cross your hands over your chest if you prefer not to hold hands, and if you're comfortable holding hands with those around you, indicate this by putting your hands out to the side. Now please join us in singing Shalom. The words are in the order of service.